Hello everyone, what's up? I'm here with Dr. Caetano versus Raiza. I actually caught this live, but something weird happened to the recording. I don't think I got around to uploading it, so I figured I'd get the post narration in. Um, I fixed some settings on my computer, so I thought this should be better, hopefully. But yeah, let's get on into this game. We got Caetano of the Runers. At this point in time, they were losing to the Classiest, but it was getting closer. The Runers were bridging the gap. Ultimately, the series ended a tie. And going to tiebreak. I actually covered some games that happened today in that series, so that's cool. But I also want to bring you guys this. This is the game that happened in the middle of the series in black and white, to which I've covered almost every game in this SPL besides a couple of week one games that happened before it started. I was gonna go ham with recording them, but yeah. So we got a rain team against a sand team. We're gonna get into specific analysis in 1 second. I just have to pause, get some water, and then we'll be good to go. All right, we're back. So yeah, let's get into Katana's team first. Looks like a pretty offensive rain team. You see guard jump, which is interesting. Could potentially be rocks to decompress Ferrothorn a bit, or it could be a Swords Dance breaker. We've seen both on rain teams before. The Brazilians happen to have a bit of an affinity for the Swords Dance variant. However, Swords Dance could be run alongside rocks, like a Lumberry type of set. It could also be Yachi, which would make a ton of sense helping with Thunderous Tea, even potentially Hidden Paradise Lenderous Tea, and opposing Python with Ice Beam, etc. We'll have to wait and see, of course, though. There are a whole plethora of sets it can be. Garchomp is quite the versatile Pokemon. Latios on this team is almost definitely going to be Choice Scarf in my eyes. And that's something that Rise has checked many times over, so that's fine. Politoed is going to be defensive. Ferrothorn definitely have spikes. If Chomp doesn't have rocks, it'll have rocks. I don't think he predicted Rise to bring Magnezone, so compressing Ferrothorn honestly is pretty fine in this matchup. To rocks plus spikes, but it really depends. I actually think that would suit him better here. Ferro will get in a couple times, and Chomp might be one predominantly used for breaking power. So yeah, Tentacle Spin, I'm thinking on this team it's more likely than not to be substitute or toxic, not toxic spikes. It doesn't really have anything to do with toxic spikes. And last but not least, there's Tornadus, which in my eyes is always leftovers with Sharpie. Choice Tornadus has really fallen off lately, and I don't think it's a great pick, especially against someone like Raiza who tends to use these grimy sands fairly often. This actually is a bit more bulkier than Rise's default as we segue into his team. He has a Tyranitar, Alakazam, Ferrothorn, Gliscor, Heatran, and Latios. So looking at the team, Tyranitar, it could be Rocks, Chople, or just 4 attacks Chople. Or on this team, it could very well be Scarf, as he does have Zam as well. So Sash, Zam kind of helps with like revenge healing things, and therefore you don't really need a for real Scarfer. So Scarftar can kind of do the trick with speed controls, as it has a really nice purpose. But on this team, the only thing that really truly abuses that being removed would be either like a Magma Storm Earth Powered Heatran or a Swords Dance Gliscor. So we'll have to keep our eyes open for what the sets may be. Moreover, there's also an Alakazam, of course. It's almost definitely going to be a Focus Sash variant, which is completely fine. Nothing really special, but it actually does match up quite nicely with his Rain, so long as he's able to trap the Latios or get some damage on the Politoed and Ferrothorn, specifically the Ferrothorn, so you don't have to hit multiple Focus Blasts. Moving on, there's also a Gliscor. The Gliscor probably, in my eyes, is a Swords Dance variant, but I suppose a Taunt variant or even a Protect Rocks variant could be okay. We've seen a whole assortment of Gliscor sets lately. Swords Dance, Earthquake Facade, Roost, Ice Fang, Knockoff, Aerial Substitute, Toxic. I think I said Taunt, if not, then Taunt as well. I mean, it could run a whole Stealth Rock, it could run a whole plethora of moves. So it really depends on what Rise's other Pokemon have, but I think that Rocks are on one of the Steel types ultimately. I think it's on Pharaoh or Heatran if I had to guess. So Swords Dance Gliscor is my first guess, but it could be Taunt. I don't know, but it's going to predominantly be needed in this match for Garchomp. It's not really there to check anything else. Tentacle and Politoed water types can fuck with it. Torn, similar. Latios was able to beat it. And Ferrothorn, I guess a Ferrothorn Gliscor sequence could happen, but I don't think it's Rorty Seed or Leech Seed on the Pharaoh, so we'll have to wait and see. Beyond that, there's also Heatran, which also isn't too great in this matchup, truth be told. I'm just going to pause for 1 second again. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm done pausing for real. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, Heatran, it could be the Rocket potentially. Could also be a Magma Storm variant, which works really nicely with Sand Spikes and kind of the Alakazam sort of feel of the team. And last but not least, Latios. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Choice Specs in this team, just because the breaking power with Alakazam is really nice. And also, I don't really think he has a need for a Choice Scarf alongside Alakazam on a Latios. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm expecting Pharaoh lead at least by one side. We're going to see Garchomp on Pharaoh, so yeah, Rice is going to play conservatively and switch out. Although it wasn't targeting a fire move, It could be all sorts of things. That's fine. Gliscor is going to get the orb up safely, which makes a lot of sense. Ratchet's going to reveal itself to be sub, so right off the bat, it's going to be broken by Earthquake as it sword dances, and knowing that Caetano is resilient, this almost definitely identifies the fact that it'll be a Dragon Gem variant. Sword King happens to have quite the affinity for this set, and other Brazilians have kind of had a trait passed on to them. Sub, Sword Stance, Outrage, Dragon Gem, Earthquake, yeah, basically it's that. So if I had to guess, Raiza will trade the Gliscor for it, knowing, okay, the Gliscor is useless for Delta 5 to make a revenge kill with either Hidden Power Ice Alakazam, or if I don't want to reveal that, and I want to have the Latios in, then Latios. And if Latios is Dragon Pulse, that's even better. As then it kind of forces the Pharaoh for real, because it won't be a -2, and everything else takes a boatload, and nothing can kill it in one hit besides opposing Latios, which I guess you could go to, but that losing the Tyranitar for pursuit sequences, yada yada yada. So yeah, I think this is actually a really favorable start for Raiza, despite him kind of being on the back foot, if that is the case, and it is indeed. So he is in fact going to outrage lock. That is going to let the Latios come in. The Latios is going to take it out with Dragon Pulse. So yeah, it's a good trade for Raiza because the Chomp really could have done a number between Gliscor, Heatran, Pharaoh, Tar all being slower and pretty much nuked at +2. So yeah, really fine start for Raiza. Not that it's necessarily bad for Caetano, but he could have gotten more mileage if it was a different Garchomp set. And I think that Raiza is out of the woods, and he kind of started off feeling like he was very much in them. We're going to see Rocks there, and now to bait in the Politoed, Raiza's going to go Tran on the Pharaoh, and then back to his Pharaoh, going to recover from the Rocks damage, and set up what might be his own Rocks. Yeah, indeed his own Rocks, so it's actually dual hazards Pharaoh on both sides, presumably, as we're going to see a knockoff from Caetano, and a knockoff, no knockoff from Raiza, so he doesn't have knockoff on his Ferrothorn. That's what it indicates pretty much. Going to get one layer of spikes up. Notice the trend of sequence and see that the Pharaoh is going to stay in and spike up himself and then go to Heatran, but then he baits in the Politoed again, which now it's taking 25% faster, then goes to Latios. So really nice momentum way into doubles there from Raiza, taking advantage of the situation. We're going to see a Protect here from that Politoed, and Latios is going to be able to fire off what is likely to be a Specs Drake. We'll be able to toughen the damage this turn, as last time Dragon Pulse would have killed the Garchomp either way. And given that it does 34%, that's a low damage roll from Specs on especially defensive Ferrothorn in all likelihood. See, that's a big chunk of damage there. And it's going to go Pharaoh, and we're going to see a double the Tentacle from Caetano, which is great, but if it's a Power Whip Ferrothorn from Raiza, then he could still threaten us, or we could see damage on one turn and then a Beta Protect, and a Tyranitar. We're going to see Scald, no burn, and Power Whip is going to do 45, which is a big chunk, and now, instead of protecting, he's just going to go for another Scald. He's going to get the burn this time on the Power Whip. He's going to do 23, okay. It's fine. You can't really complain there if you rise at 2 burns. It's like a 50-50 shot, 1 and 2 burns. See a Rapid Spin there. Leave him at 32. And Power Up's going to leave it low, but it's going to get a critical hit. Oh no. And that's unfortunate because for Raiza, actually, he wanted that Tentacle alive because what he could do is force up Stealth Rocks. Essentially, after that turn, he could have spammed Stealth Rock and forced him to be up because he was taking bird damage. He would have progressively died. And there's no way to get a spin off that would have killed it in all likelihood. So yeah, that actually works out well for Dr. Caetano. Despite losing his spinner, the only hazard setter on Raiza's side is now not going to be able to come back in instead of hazards no matter what, so it's basically dead. And Rocks Up would have been huge because it would have put Tornadus into a range for potential Scarf Tart Assault or Alakazam Assault just after very little other chip. Also means that Rocks damage is taking on Latios, so it's that much quicker to being in range for like a hit from Alakazam after, say, Power from Pharaoh or a couple of burn or poison turns from Tran. Yeah, so Rocks not being up, I feel as if that crit really worked well for Caetano a ton. Because like it would be at 75 here. I'm just going to take it out. That's good. Now, interesting play here. He's going to go Heatran. That indicates that the Tar probably isn't Scarf. Because even if it's Choppable, and I actually spoke to Raiza about this after the game, you're taking 25% here, then taking the superpower damage. And at that point, Scarf Latios would be able to clean him out, unless it's a Thunder Wave Alakazam, which it seems not to be. So yeah, he's going to get super power on Toxic Mist, and that, coupled with the fact that Rock's enough, really is going to bite Raiza in the ass, because he's just not enough. He's not putting this in range for Zam. So he's going to let this go here, and at -2, the Tornadus is finally going to take out Heatran here. Now, here's another curious turn. A lot of people in the chat thought he'd go Tyranitar no matter what here. And I personally still think that might have been the play. It's kind of hard. I don't think Raiza necessarily had a win path here regardless if Caetano didn't choke. But like if he could bait a choke, a U-turn, for example, then he could potentially not only pursue trap this, but also then he could still have enough health to check the Scarf Latios, so then Alakazam or Latios can clean out. Probably Latios with his Ferrothorn being chipped, with Alakazam breaking through for it. But regardless of that fact, the fact of the matter is that a -2 superpower in the Chapel after hazards, then you go to the Python to force it out, and the Latios. Then after another round of hazards, the Latios would take out the Tyranitar. So in reality, Rise is pretty much checkmated here, so long as Caetano doesn't choke. And I mean, I guess going for the choke might have been a better play, but I think with this way, maybe he had odds of it not being like a Tailwind variant or not or more like different choke routes. So yeah, unfortunately though, we're gonna see U-turn Draco, not gonna crit or anything. So yeah, it's pretty much over for Raiza at this point. If rocks were up, then that Tornadus may very well have been in range, especially if that Toxic hit. But yeah, we're going to see a miss. That actually helps Raiza a little bit as he's going to be able to trick here, but he's not recover as we saw before, so Power Up's going to do enough to where it's just futile effort at this point. And Draco, after the second one misses, the third one hits, but it's too little too late. Going to take this out, and Farrell is still going to be outside of psychic range, barring like an absolute max damage roll, unless it's a physically defensive one. And Focus Blast, that insult injury is going to miss. So yeah, it's going to break the Sash, and that's pretty much going to be game. Caetano is going to walk away with a 4-0 victory, and I don't think that Ryzen necessarily had a 100% win at any point if it was clean. It really came down to plays regardless, especially since this Tornadus is Tailwind. So that helps a ton because Politoed, once the Marathon goes down, Politoed becomes an immense threat in my eyes. But yeah, we're just seeing go through the motions here, and Politoed's going to do the trick. It did turn out to be a Choppleberry Tyranitar, a bit of an offensive one according to what Raiza said. But yeah, it's just really unfortunate because this had potential to be a really good game if rocks got up. Come down to the wire, but instead that sequence turned unfortunate for Raiza. So yeah, Caetano didn't play a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think he played outstanding either. He played fine, and Raiza played to his outs fairly well. There were one or two turns that maybe he could have fished for a choke in a different way, but I'm not sure. I don't think it would have really mattered in the long haul. I don't think this is a poorly played game at all. Just some weird turns, some unfortunate turns, and that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So yeah, that's it. Caetano is going to advance with a victory, and that helped in a effort that led the Runers to a tie. And unfortunately, Raiza fell in what's likely to be his last game in this SPL. For his eighth loss of the season, he finished 3-8. I don't think that's indicative of him as a player. I think he's more of like a 5-6, 6-5 type of player. But hey, hopefully we'll see more of him in the future. As for Caetano, he finished positive. I think that was his sixth or seventh win. I don't know. Let's say I think it went 4-4 regular season before 3 black white, and then he won two. So yeah, he finished 6-4 with a 6-3 in black white, which is a good season. Well done by him. Ruiners tie breaking against Classiest. We'll get more coverage on that later in the week, but neither of these guys are going to be in that. Black white's not a tier in it. So yeah, this is Finch. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.